Yes, sir. We are good to go. Austin Forkner. Dude, thank you so much for doing this, man. I appreciate it. Dude, This is fucking awesome. I think this is episode 10.
Top 10. Yeah, glad we could. We've been talking about it for a while.
Yeah.
Since you started it, basically. Since you started
pretty
doing
much,
it.
dude.
And it's like, hey, we need to get you on. And then finally.
Well, it hasn't been that long because I've only been doing it since like January. But every time we get together, we're like, yeah, we'll do it. And I ran to you in Publix the other day. I was like, dude, let's set that up while you got some downtime. How's your hand?
Yeah, it's getting better. It's right here was where I broke it. So but I got a follow-up x-ray the other day and it's not fully healed, but the doctor said he's happy enough with it that he said he'd let me ride.
Be able to ride?
Yeah. But like in the gym and stuff, whenever I like I can do pulling exercises fine. But pushing exercises where the bar, the weight or whatever goes directly into that outside part of your hand is when it hurts, which obviously bars, that's kind of going to be. I was going to say. Yeah, that's going to be an issue. So that my goal right now is to try to ride next Monday. And then the next race, well, there's a race this weekend, but then a weekend off. And then it's Birmingham. So it's like I should have, if I start riding Monday, I'll have 2 weeks on the bike before Birmingham. So, and we're just going to drive to Birmingham. So
2 weeks of practice?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So that'd be nice to be able to do that because it's only like 4 hours away from here. So we just drive there. Yeah.
Because that's a huge deal.
Yeah.
Like your hands, like, I mean, you can't mess up your hands.
No, I mean, if and ride. Yeah. I mean, it's a pretty simple injury in that way because like when I've done knees or whatever in the past, it's like, okay, well, like it's okay. Just, don't dab it or don't, stick it out wrong or something. Where this is pretty simple as far as like, if I can't hold on, I can't ride.
Right.
So it's kind of an easy injury, I guess. Cause if I go to ride and I don't feel like I can hold on, then it's like, okay, I got to wait longer. So.
I was just talking about this the other day. I was like, you guys get, well, you guys, like I know all that much. I didn't know anything about Supercross or anything until I met you. And then to find out how much you guys get injured, like you're hurt more than anybody I know. Since I've met you, you've been on crutches, you've had surgery, you broke your hand, you were just getting your knee drained the other day. I saw that on Instagram. That was like 2 days ago.
Yeah, that was 2 days ago. Yeah.
I was like, what is happening? And I was like, this dude, he gets hurt more than. I'm friends with guys who have been like professional fighters, right? Like my buddy Cole Miller is going to come on the podcast. He walked to the octagon with UFC gloves on 20 times. Hasn't been hurt as much as you.
Yeah.
It's wild.
Yeah. I mean, I've definitely had the shorter end of the stick than a lot of other guys as far as like I've been hurt definitely more than your average guy, but any guy in the sport gets hurt a lot. It's just, it's not, if you're going to get hurt, it's when, and then it's just kind of how much, because like the, I guess, best guy that we have in Supercross right now, that's won a bunch of championships over the past couple of years, the past 2 years, he blew his knee out last year. He was like, basically never got hurt. I think he'd had like a collarbone before that. In the past like 4 or 5 years, and he'd won a bunch, and it was kind of like, okay, he's just going to be one of the guys that doesn't get hurt. And now, bang, the past couple of years, he blew his ACL out last year and broke something in his wrist or hand this year. And now will have missed 2 seasons basically, where it's that quick. Like, it's like you can go from being the best guy, untouchable, not being hurt for a long time, and then bang, 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 back to back, multiple injuries. And then it's like, then you've transition from this path down, now you're on this path almost, and it's just a whole
now
separate,
you're on the recovery
path. Exactly. So it's how quickly it can change, and the fact that no one can really be like, oh yeah, I don't get hurt, like that doesn't happen. Well, something can happen that's not even your fault. Your bike can shut off on the jump face. A bike can come from 2 lanes over from somebody else crashing and clean you out, and you're just a bystander basically. So that's what's gnarly about dirt bikes, is just the fact that you can do everything right, and sometimes it doesn't care. Dirt bikes don't care.
I was reading about you this morning. I was reading some stuff because, like I said, I don't know much about you outside of like us being homies. Yeah. You know what I mean? So I don't know much about your Supercross career or much about Supercross or anything like that in general. And I was reading about you this morning. It said that you're one of the best 250 riders in history, and who hasn't won a championship.
Yeah.
And it was because of injuries.
Yeah. I think I have one of the most wins in the 250 class.
It was like 13.
Yeah,
I think
13,
it was.
I think, wins in Supercross in the 250 class, which is quite a bit and that's definitely a lot to not have a championship. So that's, it's just because I've won, and then got hurt. Like one year, I think I won 5 or 6 races in a row and then got hurt. But because I got hurt and missed the last 2 races, that I lost 50 points in the last 2 races. So I didn't have that big of a points lead. So I lost championship. So that's just how it kind of goes. If you miss one race, like you can miss one race, but there's very few injuries that we get that it's like, oh, I just need to like take one weekend off and I'll be good to go. It's like, no, usually if we get hurt, it's at the best case scenario, it's a broken bone. And then worst case scenario, it's a ligament, it's a back, a femur, something that's
I want you guys to think about what he just said. He said, best case scenario, it's a broken bone. That's crazy. And I've noticed this since I've known you, that like whenever you are injured, because you've been injured a lot, just since we've known each other, you're always like, yeah, it'll heal up pretty quick. I got surgery or like what it's just like not a big deal. You're just like, man, it's fine. Yeah. Like this is just regular. That would be such a big deal to anybody else, right? Yeah. If somebody broke their arm just randomly, whatever they were doing. And then they, posted on Facebook, oh, I'm fine, I just broke my arm. Everybody in the comments would be like, dude, are you all right? You good? Like, you're just like, it's fine. Like, not a big deal.
Yeah, I come get tattoos like a week after surgery from my. I think it was my knee. I think that I did. Right after I had surgery on that last year. Yeah. I came and got upper. I think it was my chest done. I was like, yeah, we'll stay away from my knee, but we could do the other leg or my chest or whatever. And you're like, oh. Yeah, sure.
I was like, yeah, as long as you're good. Yeah, every time you get hurt, you're in the shop. Yeah, like you're just like hanging out getting tattooed.
Yeah, that's why I have tattoos now, because that's whenever I can't get some sort of like adrenaline rush or something from dirt bikes, I feel like tattoos kind of give you at least like some sort of little adrenaline rush. Like when you're getting a tattoo, you're like, I mean, it hurts and you're just like, but you're like, oh, this is sick. Like, once we're done, it's gonna look sick. So it's gonna be awesome. Yeah. So that's
how we met. We met through Matt.
Yes.
What's his Instagram name?
Mantis Tamer.
Mantis Tamer. That's what it is. Oh, Mantis Tamer.
That's what, because that's what I told you when I came in. Is I was like Matt. His Instagram name is Mantis Tamer. Yeah. And you were like, and you looked and you were like, oh yeah. He was like, I didn't remember that being his Instagram handle.
Yeah, I couldn't remember the Instagram handle. I was like, wait, because I was like. When I went to California, it's crazy how this kind of stuff happens, because I went to California and did a guest spot. Was it Empire? Is that the name of Donnie's shop? I can't. I have to pull this up.
That sounds right.
Oh no, Envision.
That's what it was. Envision. That was the shop that Matt worked at before he moved. He moved to a different shop when I got like 1 or 2 tattoos by him at Envision. And then he moved to another shop that I think he's still at, that I've been getting tattoos, that I kind of got tattoos at before I moved out here.
I went out there like 8 years ago or something like that. Did a guest spot, and me and Matt hit it off. Like, he was awesome. We love hanging out. And then I went out again, same thing. And we were homies. And then he ended up tattooing your whole back. Mm-hmm. And then when you came out here, I remember you telling me, like, you were like, hey man, that's like my last session. Triumph, is that who you write for? Triumph is moving me out to Georgia. And you're like, I'm not gonna be able to get tattooed anymore. He was like, dude, you should get tattooed by my buddy Yogi. He's out there. And you were like, he's probably not even close by.
Well,
man.
He said, I was like, I'm moving to Georgia. I mean, like, this is kind of in the middle of nowhere. Yeah. Like, I mean, for coming from California, that's like this Sonoya, a town of, I don't know how many people are here. Not that many. It's basically a main street. Yeah. That's pretty much the only.
It's a small place.
Yeah. Yep. So I was like, what are the chances? He was like, I got a buddy in Georgia. And he was like, where are you moving to? I was like, south of Atlanta. I was like, Peachtree City. That's like, maybe you know what that is. Probably not. But like the actual town is Sonoya. And he was like, Sonoya? And he looked up the shop and he was like, yeah, is that how it's spelled? I was like, yeah. And he was like, that's where it is. And I was like, holy shit. What are the chances of that? He was like, yeah, you need to hit up my buddy Yogi, because he has like a really nice like shop. He's like a super good tattoo artist. So whenever you go out there, and I was like, okay, yeah. I mean, and then I think it was like the next time that I was like, hey, you said, like my last session, I was like, hey, you were talking about you had somebody, and then that's when we talked about all that stuff. And then just turned out. And then
shout out to Matt, dude.
Shout out to Matt. And then I hit you up on Instagram, and you were like, just come by the shop. And then I came by, and we started talking, and we're getting tattoos and
homies, going to shows. Fucking
I went to Falling in Reverse.
Yeah. Although I had to leave you hanging on Lorna Shore. That was my fault.
It is what it is. I enjoyed it by myself and on crutches, but
bro, I still can't believe they let you. You went on crutches. What'd they do? They took you right to VIP, didn't they?
Yeah, they
not because you're Austin Forkner. They had no idea. They were just like, oh, dude's on crutches.
Yeah, well, they like walked me. They showed me where I was sitting, because I showed up a little late. It was like at the end of the openers, and I showed up, and I didn't show up that late. I would have caught probably, I think there were 3 openers. I would have caught 2, but it took me, I had to park so far away, and it took me so long to crutch to the Coca-Cola Roxy or whatever it was that I missed. I was like, man, I was like, yeah, okay, I'll probably miss the first one, but I should catch the last 2, at least a little bit of the second one, and for sure and then get in there, and they're like, they played like their last 2 songs. And then they were like, yeah, Lorna's next. And I was like, oh, shit.
Just in time. In time, though.
They walked me there. And then it was the last opener had just finished. And everybody was getting up to like get drinks, go pee, whatever. And so I was having to like lift my feet a lot to let people walk by. And one of the workers was just like, I feel bad for you, because I was in my knee brace. And I feel bad for you. You want to just take one of these tables, which the tables up front were like the... I guess VIP tables,
VIP,
whatever, for like, so you could order food and stuff. And she was like, you can sit here, and that way you can put your leg up. You want people walking by. I'll take the like menu. So you won't be able to order food or drinks, but like I had just gotten a drink, and I was like, yeah. I mean, that's fine. Like this, it had better viewing. It didn't have people walking in front, whatever. And I was like, yeah, this is sick. So I paid just GA. And ended up getting like VIP just because they felt bad for me. So.
And VIP is good.
I was going to say, so you said that we need to go to more concerts, and I need to just keep my crutches and my brace.
Yes.
And go more like that.
Yes. I was like, just keep your crutches and your brace, dude. Yes. Because, dude, let me tell you, I just bought VIP to the Coca-Cola Roxy to go see Bill Murray. So when you do the VIP box, like this isn't something that you can just... I had to figure it out. You can't just buy it on there. You have to like call them and get in touch with people. Like, yeah, there's like bookings specifically for VIP. It's like a whole process. But I ended up getting it, and you have to pick like it's 5, 10, or 15 shows for the year. You have to buy like this giant lump sum up front. It's like thousands of dollars. I was like, dude, do you guys do one show? Because I don't go to shows that much, but I ended up doing 3. So Bill Murray's the first one, and then the other 2 are I don't know yet. I'm waiting on something heavy to hit the second half of the year, because I know Kubla Khan's coming with Lamb of God.
I looked after we talked about you getting that, and I looked and I saw Lamb of God, but that was, I didn't really see anything else that was coming soon that looked like super good. I don't really like Kubla Khan that much. I love Lamb of God.
Yeah. But I was like, I don't want to sit through a fucking Kubla Khan set. Like not. I ain't hating. Kubla Khan's heavy as fuck, but like it's just not my vibe.
Yeah.
I was thinking about it because I haven't seen much else popping up for Coca-Cola Roxy in this second 6 months of the year yet that's like metal or hardcore or anything like that. So if they don't have some acts like that coming, I was like, I don't know. I might have to fucking use it for Kubla Khan and Lamb of God.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I gotta figure it out. But that's rad that you got the fucking, paid general admission, and then they snuck you up to VIP, dude.
Yeah, it was super sick. So they were super cool. I was like, do you guys know her? And they were like, yeah, actually, no one was really coming into the show anymore because I was late. So they were like, we'll just walk you up there, and then walk me up there. And then they just finished. And it was, who was their opener? Was something like, I want to say it was, I don't remember who it was, but they're pretty good. But it was sick to,
who knows, some kind of fucking crazy death metal
it was
name.
some death metal band. I mean, That was my first like real death metal concert that I've been to. Like actual death metal. I've been to like Falling in Reverse and like some other. I'm pretty good friends with the guys at Sleeping with Sirens, so I've been to. But that's kind of just like punk rock / metal, not like death, like core death metal. So going to Lorna was sick. It was like my first like death metal experience.
Yeah, you've been getting more into death metal, haven't you?
Way too hard into death metal. But like that's what sucks is like the death metal that I'm into is like kind of like they're not underground, but just like death metal as a whole is not that popular.
No.
So like the bands that I'm looking at, I don't even know if they would play. They might just be playing at like bars, you know, like really small venues because they're like Lorna is one of the probably bigger death metal bands. They were at Coca-Cola. Like there's probably not a death metal band that would play at the place where Falling in Reverse played. Like maybe Bring Me the Horizon, but they're not. I mean, they're not really they're not death metal. Yeah, anymore. But that's what I'm saying. Yeah. So like
they were in the beginning.
They're probably not. There's probably not even a death metal band that's big enough to play like what Falling in Reverse played.
No, probably not to bring that kind of crowd.
Yeah, that's
like,
what I mean.
I mean,
so like that's what I was like. Lorna's coming. Not like that. I might as well go see him because I don't know when the next time I'll go to a death metal concert.
Cannibal Corpse.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Cannibal Corpse.
They could. Yeah.
Cannibal Corpse could definitely do it. Yeah. What'd you think about Scorching Tomb?
Oh,
did you like it?
Sick. I like their. I listened to a couple songs because what's funny is I sent it to one of my other buddies that's into the same stuff as me, tattoos, metal, dirt bikes, whatever, guns, but whatever. We're into the same stuff. And I sent him. I was like, hey, I just got tattooed, and one of the what does he play in the band?
Miguel.
Yeah,
Miguel plays bass in that band.
That's okay. That's why. And I was like, hey, one of the members of Scorching Tomb was at the tattoo shop. He was tattooing somebody, and I was like, have you heard of them? And he was like, oh yeah. He was like, they're pretty like kind of new, aren't they?
Yeah.
And he was like, but they're heavy. And I was like, good. Yeah. And
they're real good.
He sent me one of their songs and he was like, check this one out. Yeah. There's a different one that you sent me. Yeah. And I was like, sick. I already got a couple songs. Like I'm just branching out. Every time I get in the car, I'm like, because now Apple Music has that. It's like a Spotify where like you listen to one song and it leads you into more like suggested or related songs. So now just all types of, death metal songs, especially if I listen to one of their songs and more just come on. I'm like, yo, this is sick.
It's good, dude.
Yeah, that's good. I've been downloading a lot of stuff lately.
There was the Young and in the Way. Did you like that? It was like the one that I sent you, Young and in the Way. I forgot the name of the song, but it's so it's like death metal hardcore.
Yeah. It was definitely like, it was sick. It was different than what like the typical death metal that I've.
That's why I thought you might like it.
Yeah, it was sick. I liked it. I liked because that's what a lot of the times in death metal, like that's what my wife doesn't really understand. She's like, why they just scream? And I'm like, okay, well, it's not really about the lyrics. I'm more so listening to the like to the song itself, like the instruments per se, more than because you can't tell what they're saying and you don't know what they're saying. I mean, you can know what they're saying, and it's still you don't really even actually know what they're saying half the time. So it's not really about, it's just about the cool noises they can do with their voice and then just the heavy riffs and heavy just, stuff they're playing. Okay. So that's kind of.
You can if you go and you like, read the lyrics and then learn them and follow along. Yeah. And then once you know them, you won't be able to unhear it.
Yeah, that's that is. That's what I've had to do. Cause I'm like, I'm like, okay, I think I'm pretty sure I know what he's saying. Then I look it up and I'm like, some of them I'm like, okay, I was close. Others I'm like, that I am way off. That did not sound like he said that at all.
What I thought it was.
But at the same, he's growling when I'm trying, and he's saying words when he's going, and then you read the lyrics and it's like he's like saying a sentence when he's doing that. And it's like, oh, sick. Okay, so that how am I supposed to know what that means?
They get crazy with it, man. They get deep into it. There's lots and people because those guys they nerd out on that stuff a lot, man. They do a whole bunch of research and they have all these different techniques that they use now and the way that they hold their tongue and the shape of their mouth. Yeah. False chord, fry, like all this different stuff, the way that it comes out of their stomach and like they'll shape their throat and their mouth like certain very specific ways to like get certain sounds. Yeah. there's a whole science to that stuff, and people are like, oh, they're just screaming. I'm like, no, they're not.
Yeah,
like, there's an art to that.
And you have to know how to do it too, to be able to.
Oh yeah,
to like, that's what singing live is crazy, because I'm like, how does his voice? How do their voices last even through like Lorna Shore's show is only like 45 minutes or an hour?
Mm-hmm.
How does it last? How does it last 45 minutes or an hour? Like, dude, like the sounds that he's doing, and they did To the Hellfire, where at the end of that song he's like does like the
all
Tasmanian like
noises.
Yeah. Like it's like, I'm like, dude, how do you not just blow your voice out? Like my voice when I left that, just from like was
from
hoarse.
yelling.
Yeah, and
just from being excited.
Yeah, and I was like, it's gnarly. So I figured that they had a bunch of like techniques and stuff that they had. To do.
That's it's all technique. That's what it is. That's the reason they can do it night after night. There is a very specific way to do it. I just had Chad Rollick from For the Fallen Dreams on here, and he was that. I mean, them boys play 5, sometimes 6 nights a week.
Yeah,
every week that they're on tour. Right. He was talking about how strenuous it can be if you don't know what you're doing, but he was old school. He did like trial and error. There's not much technique. He just kind of screamed until his voice couldn't scream anymore, and then he would just build it up and callous his throat, and it just got to the point where he's just a monster. When it comes out, you're just like, Jesus Christ.
Well, that's what whenever Miguel, he just made that quick, because I remember that we talked about it, but I forgot that you even mentioned that, like, hey, somebody from Scorching Tomb was going to be, or he was going to be here or whatever. I didn't know how long he was going to be here. And then when I came in and I think it was whenever we were joking around about My Chemical Romance or something, and he was like, and you were like, yeah, you're like, they're heavy or something. He went like he made like some sound, like, and I was like, that sounded pretty good.
Yeah,
and I was like, I didn't even know that that's who that was until like later on, and I was like, you said something about it or whatever, and I was like, oh, okay, that makes sense of why that sounded like a death metal sound, you know, and it just caught my eye, because I was like, oh, that's he either is just good at making those sounds, or that sounded legit.
Yeah,
so
they all look like tattooers too. So like when he's in here tattooing, you would never know that he does anything different either.
There's other members of the band are all tattooists too. Like they
the singer also is for sure. I know that he is. I think they call him VP. And I don't know if any of the other guys are, but I know that Miguel and the singer are both. They work together.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
He's probably been tattooing for a while then, right?
Yeah. He does a lot of like, what are those, executioners and skulls, and tribal skulls and things like that. But it's kind of like this toony traditional style. Like it's red. I like it. But so Miguel is also in Sudden Waves as well. There's a band called Sudden Waves that he's a part of up there. And he was also in a band called Obey the Brave back in the day. That was like Despised Icon and some other people from some other bands. They put together some sort of like post-hardcore band. But Miguel's always running in circles, man. He's always just playing music, tattooing. Dude, he's a monster. Yeah, that's all he does.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, he's just
playing music and tattooing.
He's
that's
like a rock star. He lives his best life, dude.
That's not bad.
He's got some cats at home. That's it, dude.
There's worse things.
Killing it, dude.
Yeah.
Killing it.
That's
there sick. Are worse things. Being laid up all the time.
Yeah,
you know a little bit about that.
That sucks sometimes. Yeah.
So I wanted to talk to you about this when it comes to Supercross. We were talking about, and I didn't know this until I met you. And I think that a lot of people don't know this. So I want to talk about some of it. When we see you guys on TV, when we see motocross, Supercross, and we see you guys doing your thing, we just see guys who are just having fun. Because anytime anybody who just doesn't know anything about it, like if we ride a dirt bike, it's for fun. It's like, yippee. Like it's like just having fun.
Yeah.
You guys are like fucking professional athletes, dude.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Like on your off days, they've got you fucking swimming and biking, and they're monitoring everything. And we were talking about how the margin for error is so small. You told me that you were at practice and you were off by a half a second on a lap, and they were like scrutinizing that. They were like, why are you off ahead? And I was confused. I was like, why is that such a big deal? It's only a half a second.
Yeah.
And then you explain it to me, yeah, it is only a half a second. But after 6 laps, that's a 3-second lead.
Yeah. And that's, yeah.
The margin for error is so small. It's crazy.
Yeah. I was just talking to somebody yesterday about it. And it's that half a second, just for example, is the last race I did before I got hurt. My finish was I was 15th, 450 class. So that between 15th and a top 10 is about half a second. If you can be about a half a second faster, like you said, in 6 laps, that's 3 seconds. Well, we do 25 laps. So over the course of that would be however many seconds up. I mean,
12, 13 seconds.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's about the difference between 12 or 13. That's a lot of time within a race. So that's between 15th and 10th. That's that's about half a second difference, but it's half a second every lap. So being half a second faster every lap and then between 10th and 5th, it's about another half a second. If you can be another half a second faster, and then so it's if I was just a second faster a lap, that could take me from 15th to a top 5, which is that's huge. A top 5 in the 450 class is insane right now with how stacked it is. And then to go from a top 5 to that's what the top 5 to a win. That's whenever it starts to get even. The half a second transitions to 0.2 or 0.3 of a second to go from that 5th place to that 3rd place or 2nd or 1st or whatever.
Right.
And then so it's so tight, and that's what half a second doesn't seem like a lot of time on one lap. Or we even do at the end before I got hurt, we were working on section times. We would break the track into 3 sections. And I would do my fastest time that I could do in that section. Let's say it was 14.3 seconds. Well, then I would have to go out and 5 times in a row, I would have to beat 14.3 seconds in that section. And I would have to go do that for all 3 sections of the track, get my best time, do 3 runs and take my best time of those 3 runs, and then have to beat it 5 times in a row or start over. So if I get to 4 and I'm on 5 and it's a 14.4, start back over 5 more. So we started doing that just to try to get it just pushing super hard and not doing the whole track. Then we transitioned to, after we did the sections, then we went and did full laps and would do the fastest lap. Or actually what we did was we took my fastest segments that I ran from each of those, and that would be my lap time essentially, because break the track into 3 segments, take my fastest segments up from those 3, and that's my lap time. So then the next session, I had to go out, and at the start of my motos, I have to do my first 3 laps, starting and beating my fastest just segment time. So it's taking just for example, doing a let's say 25-yard dash. So then a 100-yard dash. So there's 4. So you take your 25-yard dash time, and you have to do that for 100-yard or 200 yards or whatever it is, So it's essentially I'm sprinting as hard as I can in that section, and then I got to put it together for a whole lap. So that's a good comparison, I guess, is doing a 25-yard dash or 30-yard dash and 30, 60, 9. Then have to sprint for you do for 20 or 30 yards, but for 100 yards or for whatever. So it's just we're trying literally and that's just stuff for me, much less stuff we're doing with the bike and with this and that. And we're talking about millimeters on the bike that makes a difference with how it handles or how fast it can be, or how it's so much to dive into as far as dirt bikes go. It's such there's so much that people don't really understand about it that is. And that's what, whenever I talk to people, like you were just saying, you didn't know that it was that much into it. And that's what, whenever I talk to people and explain, even people who are into the sport and who ride dirt bikes, if you're and that's what a lot of the time you get people that are talking on social media or whatever, and they're because they think they know, because they went out to their local track and rode, they think they know exactly what, and that's what I'm saying is it's that half a second could come from you, it could come from your bike, it could come from your bike just on that track. You go to a different track with different dirt and your bike handles completely different, or you just like this sort of dirt and this track design better. And so there's so many variables to it, and that's why it's tough to be up at the front consistently at this level, especially in the 450 class. Cause essentially that's I didn't really, cause I went from the 250 class, like winning races in the 250 class, and then being in the 450 class, that's the pinnacle. Like that is the top. It's like 250 class, I guess you could kind of compare like the 250 class of being like college football, basketball, whatever.
Right.
And the 450 class is like, they're both pro, but I guess it would be more like Formula 1, and then there's like Formula 2. I guess that would kind of be a better comparison.
What's the difference on that? So for like people who don't know, right? So like myself, right? Okay, so like the 250 and the 450 class. If 250 is college and 450 is pro, when you're talking about 450, are there like a lot of components that come into that make that such a drastic jump, or is it just like bigger bikes, faster bikes? Is it what makes the difference between like college and pro between 250 and 450?
So it's saying college and pro is not, that's my best way to explain it, but that's not really correct because 250 class is pro as well. They're also
I
pro,
understand that,
but the bikes are faster. But
okay.
In the 250 class, the teams, there's a lot more spots to ride for a factory team. So like a factory team will have 4 or 5 guys in the 250 class, where when you go to the 450 class, those factory teams only have 2 guys. Most factory team only has 2 guys. So
why?
The spots are because, first off, if you're in the 450 class, you're probably getting paid more than the 250 class, especially if you're on a factory team. So the spots are a lot more limited, and it's a lot harder to get on a factory team in the 450 class because there's only 2 spots per team. So it's harder to get a spot in the 450 class because everybody, like the top, I think there's 12 or 15 guys in the 450 class at the moment that have won championships.
Okay.
So we're in the 250 class. I think in the 250 class right now, I believe there's 1 or 2 that have won a championship. In the 450 class, there's, like I said,
so you're just dealing with more champions. So
yeah.
Is it just like, so is the 450 just made up of guys who used to do 250 basically?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah. You have to, I mean, you don't have to, I guess, but everybody starts in the 250 class. And I guess the perfect career would be go to the 250 class, win a championship there, and then move up to the 450, get a 450 ride, and then move up to the 450 class, and then, go. Then once you're in the 450 class, you don't go back down to the 250 class. You stay there. But that's the goal is to spend like 3 years or so in the 250 class, and then get your feet wet, win a championship, and then move up to the 450 class. Now I say that's the goal because that doesn't always happen, because it's like I was saying, the rides are so that you might, after a few years, there might not be any spots available in a 450 ride. So you just, hey, a team offered you to stay in 250 class for another couple years. Take it, do it. So that's kind of was the position I was in, but that was more so not because I couldn't go ride a 450. There were options to go ride a 450, but because I wanted to stay in the class to try to win a 250 championship. Right. And I got really close multiple times, but like we were talking about injuries and stuff. So now this year I finally got the chance to move up to the 450 class. And, but yeah, it's like I was saying I was thinking about it this is where I was going as I was thinking about it the other day, that like 15th in the 450 class in my mind is not good. I would like to be at least top 10, top 5s, battling for podiums and wins and stuff like that. That's obviously where I would like to be. But the other day,
because you're a great rider.
The other day, somebody was like, so where does that rank you like in the world? And I was like, well, for Supercross racing, I guess that ranks me 15th. So I'm like the 15th best dirt bike rider in the world on Supercross. When I thought about it that way, that made me feel a little bit better, because I was because just as a athlete in any sport, it's like never enough. It's always
for sure.
What's next? What's next? You get this finish, or you win this, or do this. Well, it's like, what's next? It's always like setting the bar higher, basically. So for me, that's kind of all I'm always focused on. But then that's what somebody the other day was just like, how like, what's your like ranking? Do they have like rankings? Like, what would you be ranked in the world? And I'm like, well, for Supercross,
15th,
I guess 15th, because I'm in the pinnacle. I'm in the highest. What I race is the highest part, like the highest racing for dirt bikes, 100% in the US. But even overseas racing, they still like Supercross is like the biggest form of dirt bike racing. So I'm like, I guess technically I'd be ranked about 15th. Yeah. So I'm like, that's whenever you put it that way, that makes me feel a little bit better. That's pretty sick.
That's pretty sick. Yeah.
Like being who's 15th best in would you say in basketball? I mean, like, it's going to be a big name. Yeah. Who? Durant.
Yeah.
Like, you know,
right?
like
yeah.
you know, to be, you know, 15th best in
to be in the
any
top
other
20
sport.
in anything.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying is like a, so that's why it's so hard, because I'm let's say 15th best. That is all the rides that are available in the 450 class, basically, is pretty much like they take 20 riders to the main race of the night. And at the first couple rounds before guys started getting hurt, basically all those riders were factory riders. So to be in the main, you're racing against factory guys. And like I was saying, most of those guys are past champions. And so the competition is just crazy, basically.
And you were, so going into the 450, when you came in 15th, that was your first race in 450.
Yeah, first race in 450. So I was
so it's
15th in my first race.
Yeah,
so that's
nothing
what
but up,
I think I can build and
yeah,
get better
sure.
from there. But that was but even then, it's like 15th. I was disappointed with the 15th because I thought I could have been up in the 10th to 12th place spot or around there. But
I can understand that, because like you're so used to being like, you're one of the best riders ever at 250. So you're used to being in that upper echelon, and you're used to, like, you know, focusing on that narrow margin of error, right? And you're super focused on like half a second a lap. You're super focused on all these tiny little minute details that make just the smallest difference. And you understand that like very small differences compound and make big differences. And so I understand going up into 450 and then coming in 15th. It's like, fuck, dude, that's far off. But like for your first ride at 450 to come in 15th, like, you know, like that's pretty fucking sick.
Yeah, that's not it. That's what I was disappointed a little bit, but that was the team's first. That was the first race for a Triumph 450 as well. So that was the first. Right. That was a brand new bike. So that was the first race on that bike. So that's what the team. When I just made the main when I made the main, which like I said, it's 20 riders to the main. So when I just made the main out of the heat race, I got, I think, 7th in the heat race, which you have to be top 9 to go straight in. Then they have a last chance qualifier, but I made it straight in from the heat race, and everybody was stoked. The whole team was like, yes, that was our goal coming in. We just wanted you to like make the main. And I was like, really? Like, I expect to, like, I'm making the main is like, that's I expect, like, that's not even like really,
I wasn't even thinking about that.
But, so they were thinking more realistically than me, just because that's kind of, like, I started the day off trying to be realistic and stuff and not get, like, through practice and stuff. And we have qualifying times, like fastest lap times and stuff from everybody. And I was trying to be realistic and stuff. But then when it comes down to it, when you're actually in the race, that all goes out the window and you're like, I need to be here. Yes. And here is really, that's what saying here is a really, like, loose term, because here is the guy beating the guy in front of you. Right. Basically, you're here, whether that be 2nd or 10th or 20th, where you should be is in front of the guy in front of you. So you're just like, I need to catch him. I need to beat him. It's like, need to beat, and then I'll be happy. It's like, it's one of those things. It's one of those things. Like, once I get that guy, then I'll be like, then I'll be happy. And then you get him and you're like, I need to catch that guy now. So it's just the
that's pretty sick though, dude. Like, I mean, being top 20 in anything, I think if you're top 20 in just about anything the fact that you're in that bracket, I think anybody in a top 20 could be first. Does that make sense? Like, everybody there is like, it's all about who had the better cup of coffee that day. It's small stuff. So for you guys to come in, dude, first 450 bike that Triumph has produced, and then you being the first time rider at 450.
Yep.
Never ridden there before.
Yep.
Okay. Dude, there's a lot of firsts there. And then to come out 7th in the heat race and then 15th overall.
Yeah.
I don't know how much better it could have been. You know what I mean? I mean, obviously, everybody wants to win, right?
Yeah.
But like coming in 15th just for like the first time ever on a brand new bike that hasn't been dialed in or anything, that's pretty fucking sick.
Yeah. And then the next weekend, I think
Hey, Sydney.
Hi. Sorry.
No, you're fine. You're fine.
The next weekend, or the next race or whatever, I think I qualified like 14th. So out of like qualifying was like qualified. I think the first race I qualified like 17th or whatever. So like after practice, you do your fastest lap time, and that's how you line up for the heat race. And they split it in half and whatever.
Okay.
I think I was like 17th. So that's what, before I got hurt, I was actually making progress. I qualified like at the first race, I was like 17th and then 7th in the heat race, 15th. And then at the second race, I went 14th in qualifying, then 6th in the heat race. And then I was in 11th or 12th on the first lap. So I had the opportunity to improve my main event race as well. And I got taken out. So I ended up 17th, but I got taken out and I was last after the
Wait, is this that last race where you
the
went
one
down?
where the one when I scraped up that tattoo that Matt
okay.
did. Yeah, because then
Yeah.
I broke my hand at the next race that I didn't even get to race it. But the race before that, I got taken out by someone on the first lap. But I was in, so it was trending the right direction. Like my results up until I got taken out were trending.
You were going the right way.
I was better in everything all day leading up to that, and then I got taken out, and then all I could get back to was 17th for the main. But things were trending in the right direction, so that's what I think. If I can get back and just keep getting better and
You'll
better,
be fine, dude. Yeah, you're gonna be good. Like, yeah, that's gonna be sick though. I gotta come out and watch you race. I gotta come to a fucking event, dude. Yeah.
Even just like coming to the practice track to watch. When you like see it,
your practice track's here, isn't it?
Yeah, it's in our place. It's down in like,
Triumph built one for you out here, didn't they?
Yeah, they have 4 tracks. Or no, maybe 5. They have 4 or 5 tracks on the property, and then 2 outdoor tracks, 2 Supercross tracks. And then they have because they just started doing like guys that are doing like off-road racing too. So they have this one track that's like logs and rocks and like a crazy I stay away from that thing, but they have a guy now signed that does that. So they built a track there for him when he comes out to ride and stuff. But yeah, I mean, even just to come to the practice track and watch, it's
text me when you're fucking
sick.
riding. I'll come down. Like if I'm not tattooing, I'm fucking. I don't know. I could probably skip a workout that day or something, dude.
Yeah.
Fuck, I'll come hang. Yeah, that's sick.
It's cool to watch, especially if you've never seen it. It's gnarly to. It's still even gnarly for me sometimes to walk the track and see like when you go and walk the track, especially like at the end of a race or even at the end of a practice day when it's super tore up and there's holes and ruts everywhere and stuff. And then you go and do a lap and then you come and you just like stand on the track and you're like, there's no way somebody can ride this. Like there's no way that you can jump from here to here 20 laps in a row and never make a mistake or do the stuff that you do. And I just got done doing it. I literally just got done doing it. And I'm still on the track, like about to go back, be done for the day. And I just am like kind of walking around looking at it. And I'm like, that's why I don't do that. I rarely even look at the track that I'm riding because you will see it and be like, there's no way this is even possible. But then you get out there and whatever changes from you just being on the bike just clicks in your mind and you're just like, okay. And you don't even think twice. You don't even think twice doing that stuff.
I have seen that happen with you. So just on video though. So like when I look in your eyes, when we're hanging out, I just see my buddy Austin. I've seen a video of you like you're ready to go and you like lock in. Yeah. I see your fucking eyes change. Dude. Yeah. I was like, dude, this motherfucker locked in. Yeah. Bro. It's fucking rad, dude. It's pretty impressive. And the fact that you guys are riding a different track every time.
Yeah. Every race is a completely different.
Yeah. And you told me that you don't even look at the track most of the time. Like you're just like, whatever. Look at you. That part was crazy to me. Okay, so every time you guys go and you race, the track is different.
Yes.
And you guys get what is it, like a layout or something of what the track is supposed to look like?
Yeah, you have our team just prints off a sheet. You can go on Supercross, SMX racing website and look at the track maps for all the races. Right. And maybe some guys do. I don't.
I know.
Like I don't do that. I just show up. They have a track walk that you can do before where you go walk the track. Sometimes I do it. Sometimes I don't. Like it's just kind of one of those deals where it's like you got to wake up earlier to go do track walk. I'm not really a morning guy, so sometimes. But that's the thing is looking at stuff for me half the time it just psychs me out more because I can't tell you how many times just at the first race there was somebody when I was looking at the track with them and they were like, there's no way anybody's gonna do this. Like Like I just went and told the track builders, like, what are you guys doing? No one's going to do this. There's no way. And then like 5th lap, somebody jumps it. And it's like, so what was the point of what, like you think by looking at stuff that you're like, there's no way anybody's going to do that. And then you get out there and somebody does it on like lap 5. So it's like, it's kind of pointless because it's like you completely just transition, or maybe when you're walking the track, your adrenaline's not going. Maybe you're thinking like reasonably, you're like, maybe you're not, in that. And then once the adrenaline gets going, maybe you just turn your brain off and you're just like, screw it.
Well, that's what I was saying. Like you would think that like the track layout would be pertinent fucking information, but you're just when you told me, you're like, I really don't look at it. I was like, that's when you know you're a fucking pro. When you go to line up and you don't even know what the fucking track looks like and you're fucking winning, that's crazy, dude.
Yeah. It's, I mean, like we only get 2 12-minute practice sessions before we have to race. So from from never seeing the track, basically, we get 24 minutes on the track. So that's about 20 laps, I guess, because you don't do hard laps all the time and the times are like a minute. So you get about 20 laps around the track before you have to like,
okay.
But even then, you're still trying to throw down a fast lap in practice to get your qualifying time. So like, I mean, that's what's gnarly. That's what is gnarly is that like I just saw a video the other day of a lot of time on the very first lap of practice, the very first lap, we'll just jump stuff. We'll jump 80-foot triples on the first lap. After you'll just follow the guy in front of you. Just be like, hopefully this guy knows what he's doing.
Oh my
and
God.
You'll just, you'll all jump it and you'll all make it. Sometimes you'll over jump it or case it or whatever a little bit, but it's pretty crazy to just that even just think about that for a second. You're like, and these jumps, they're blind. You can't see the landing. All you see, it would be like if you chop the wall off right here and you just look up and you're just like, okay, jump 80 feet and you don't know what's on the backside. Just go. I mean, yes, you know what's on the backside, but like, you just do it. Like that's what's crazy. So, and that's an every weekend thing. That's learning the track every weekend. It's just like, well, because we all know we're all the exact same. We all know that the longer you don't do the jumps or the more you think about something, the more you're going to psych yourself out. So the quicker you can just go out and hit everything like first lap or right off the bat, the more just you're going to lower the stress, because like it is every weekend, it is kind of stressful learning a track just because like I was saying, you're looking at a wall.
Yeah.
And you have a good guess of how fast you should hit that, but it's not like, we're not scientists here. We're not saying, oh, the face is at a 60-degree angle, and that means you have to be going, 24 miles an hour, whatever. We're not doing. You need to be in third gear. No, we're not. We don't do that. We just go based off of feel. Everything's just off of feel.
And at every event, it's different.
And so you just gotta kind of
every week.
That's what learning the track. The first like few laps of practice, when you are doing that, it's a little bit stressful. Even
I'm sure,
just because you don't 100% know that you're gonna make the jump or make it until you do it. So you're kind of just
fucking hurt at practice.
Like, fuck. So that's a little bit stressful learning a track, but that's kind of that's an every weekend thing. So you just got to learn to just go with the flow, not overthink it. And that's why sometimes I don't even look at the track beforehand, because that just adds another layer of overthinking.
I'm kind of in disbelief. You're like one of the fucking most unique people I've ever met. Like that's fucking insane, dude.
Yeah.
That is wild.
Sometimes when I think about like what we do on a regular basis, it's kind of gnarly. And that's why when you're looking at the track in the stadium, you can tell like, okay, this is gnarly. But when you get down on the track, like even just at our practice track, like you come and stand 5 feet away from where I'm riding and I go by and you see the stuff that we do, it's insane. Like it's sometimes like I'm like, this is nuts.
No,
like,
it's not lost to me whenever I've seen it before. Like, don't get me wrong, right? Like, so like I've seen this stuff like, on TV or like whatever in passing. And I was like, every time I see it, I'm like, that's crazy. But like, I don't know. To me, it was just like, oh, they're racing. They're having fun on dirt bikes, just like everybody else. That's why I wanted to ask you like these questions, because, I think that a lot of people have a misconception about what it is that you do.
Yeah.
You're a professional athlete and you do crazy shit every week, and it's insane. And you get hurt more than any other fucking professional sport there is.
Yeah. And then too, like that we didn't even really talk about. You mentioned it earlier, but like the fitness side of things too.
Yeah,
like,
let's talk about it.
Like you got to be in good shape. You got to be.
Dude, you're in great shape.
You got to lift. So you got to be strong, but you can't be so strong or have so much muscle mass that then you start to lose like your cardio fitness, because cardio is just as important. You got to be strong, but then you also have to be cardio fit and be able to breathe really well in your cardio and move a bunch of air.
Yeah, your heart rate's
your
at
muscles. I mean, on a Supercross track, my heart rate can get in my early, like when I was younger, when I was like just started racing pro, my heart rate can't quite get that high now, but it was over 200 on the bike. And that also is from like, it's a little bit of adrenaline and stuff too. So maybe your heart rate might not quite be that high, because that's the thing is I can't simulate how high my heart rate gets on a dirt bike. Like nothing that I can do. I can go and run up a hill this steep as fast as I can, and I can't get my heart rate to what it is on the dirt bike because there's no adrenaline rush,
right.
You know? And with adrenaline, that spikes your heart rate just from you getting like excited, or you just getting like your heart rate goes up. So there's nothing that I can do to simulate that, because nothing I can do is as like physically taxing as dirt bikes, but also has the adrenaline rush that dirt bikes give you too. Like even, I mean, that's what you think, like, what are some things that are super adrenaline, you know, maybe skydiving, maybe rock climbing, maybe doing things like that.
Rock climbing without a rope, maybe.
Yeah. But like, what of those is as physically, like as much physical exertion as
maybe rock climbing. That's
maybe, but it's a lot more. It's maybe more strength and more like slow. But that's what I'm saying is like there's
endurance.
There's not a lot of sports where you're you know essentially sprinting up a hill as fast as you can, but also the adrenaline rush of skydiving maybe at the same time. It's like I mean that would be that would be like, that's why like MMA stuff like that is one of the probably most comparable things. Maybe like I've heard people say bull riding. So bull riding, but that's 8 seconds. That's 8 seconds.
Yeah,
we're essentially riding a bull for 20 minutes plus a lap in our races. So that's there's not very many things that I can think of that really compare to dirt bikes. That's why, like, as much as they hurt me and have beaten me up and have broke my heart, broke my mind, broke my body, I still ride dirt bikes, because that's what like is so tough for guys that even I've seen guys that retire from racing and they're like, I hate dirt bikes. I never want to touch a dirt bike again. They go maybe a year, maybe, and then they'll come back. Everybody comes back eventually, because there's just nothing there's nothing that I've found really that can simulate just the feel, the adrenaline rush, along with just, I don't know, when you ride a dirt bike, you kind of just feel like a badass. Like you're kind of just like, dude, there's people, like there's not very many people who can do this. No. So it's kind of just one of those cool things that it's like, you know, anybody can go shoot a 3-pointer. No. Anybody can throw a football, maybe not as in the perfect spot or as far as some of these guys, but everybody can do that and yes, I guess a lot of people can just ride a dirt bike, but not a lot of people. I say a basic thing is jumping an 80-foot triple. Oh. That's super basic. Like we got to do that every lap and not even think about it. But most people wouldn't even consider hitting that. Wouldn't even consider hitting that, you know? So there's just to do stuff that.
So how high are you whenever you hit jumps like that? How high in the air are you?
Probably 30 or 40 feet.
Jeez.
Maybe a little higher sometimes. Some of them really pop you.
So you're going 80 feet out.
Like 80
and then
feet
40,
long,
30,
and then like
40 feet in the air.
30, 40 feet in the air, yeah.
And that's just, you're just like, it's basic. That's some regular shit.
That's just what you have to do.
That's some beginners.
It's just what you have to do every lap. Like that type of jump is the one I was saying that we just follow each other on the first lap. Like that's the one that you don't even think about jumping that. Like that's just kind of those jumps are actually what you relax over. Like the ones that pop you super high like that, you kind of
catch your breath.
Like you release your hands from the bars a little bit, give your forearms just you just take a quick, because you'll be in the air for like 3 seconds or so. Mm-hmm. So you kind of just, back to it.
Yeah.
So then you land again, because a lot of the jumps will be like more low jumps. So you're trying to, they're faster jumps,
Yeah.
but there's a couple jumps on the track, like the finish line, and they usually have like a Supercross triple, which is the 80-foot one that I was talking about, that they'll pop you higher. And so you can kind of take a deep breath, kind of like relax a little bit before you go again. So
I saw that I was watching a documentary this morning. The one that I was telling you about. I think it was called Pay Dirt.
oh yeah, that's
you're in it.
Yeah, they just made they just made that, I think like
it was like last year
or 2 years
Yeah.
ago. Yeah,
Yep.
that's a new documentary.
Yep.
I haven't even seen it, but I hear it's pretty good.
Yeah, I was watching this morning. They were talking about that. They were talking about when you guys are in the air on those giant jumps like that. That's when you guys, what you said, that's when you relax. You take a few seconds. You know, if you need to kick your goggles off or take your arms off for a second,
yeah, do whatever
you need to do. That is insane to think about. That like most people would not even, they can't even comprehend like what you're doing. They let alone try to do that, right?
Yeah.
Hitting a jump that big on a fucking dirt bike, and you're in the air and you're going 80 feet out, you're 40 feet in the air. That's when you relax.
Yeah. That shit in most people's mind. That's like the most stressful time, you know? Like
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. And that's when we're like, okay,
You're like, oh,
take a
God,
breath. Okay,
finally.
relax. Like,
Finally
just-
at the big jump.
Yeah. that is actually funny, because that's kind of what we do. We're like, okay, come up to the even, and on outdoors, because outdoors is outside of stadiums basically, so the jumps can even be bigger. There's some jumps that are like 120 feet in outdoors that we're doing every lap, and those are even better, I guess, because you can relax even more.
You
over
get
them.
4 or
You can
5
take
seconds.
Yeah. So, yeah, I don't know. Sometimes the sports, it's gnarly, it's crazy, but I mean, that's why people watch it, because it's sick,
dude.
and that's why people do it, because there's not really a lot else adrenaline wise that can, and just, you know, that's as cool.
Yeah.
Like it's a pretty. Anytime I'm like, man, because I get, obviously being hurt and stuff, you get in this mindset where you're like, man, fuck dirt bikes. Like I hate it. I hate this. But then eventually the injury starts to get better. You start to walk or use whatever you're doing, and you're like, you know, it is pretty cool. It actually, they are pretty cool.
Yeah,
so.
you had an insane wreck that's the part of you that was in the documentary.
Yeah. The Dallas wreck. Yeah. The Dallas one on the concrete. Yeah.
Or you broke your back.
Yeah.
The way that you hit the ground, dude. When I saw it again this morning, and we watched it on the phone when you told me about it and kind of thing. I was like, God. This morning I was sitting there watching that documentary. I was like, and they started talking about Rex. I was like, I bet it's gonna be in here.
Yeah.
And then sure enough, there it went, and you went over the fucking side, and you hit the concrete.
Yeah. On like
Oh, dude.
yeah.
And the way that your body just,
I got knocked out, so obviously I went just limp as soon as
I saw it on my TV at home 75, like so it's like a big, you know, you've been to my house.
Yeah.
So like when I saw it on there, I was like, Jesus.
Yeah,
dude.
it's gnarly.
So gnarly. It's it's one of the worst
It
ones
is.
I've seen.
That's probably the worst. That's one of the worst. There's a couple other ones. There's this guy named Ken Roxon that had a bad crash where he broke his arm really bad. Like compounded. It was pretty nasty. Where he kind of did something similar, but he landed back on the track, but he landed into like the face of another jump. Just got thrown off and landed, put his arm out and then there's another one that's Trey Kennard. When he got landed on over one of the triples, he couldn't triple it because so he doubled it, and somebody came down right on him and landed on him and broke his neck. There's not very many. There's like a couple crashes that are like that level of gnarly.
Legendary.
Yeah. And I'm unfortunately, I guess, that Dallas crash is definitely one of the gnarlier crash. Like I think they probably still show that like on the intro to Supercross,
Probably.
like when they're starting the show, the gnarly. I know that for a while they would, you know, the gnarliest riders ride the gnarliest tracks, and then they would flash a scene of me just eating shit, and then they would go to somebody like, you know, just the intro to the show or whatever. They would just, when they're the gnarliest riders.
Didn't you say that they would be like, you'd be like lined up and they'd be like showing it on a big screen?
They did.
It's real great.
I think somebody from my team, asked them if they could please not do that.
Yeah.
Because I was sitting on the line.
That's what I'm saying.
At my first race back from that crash too.
Oh,
my first race back
no.
from that crash. I was sitting on the line and they showed it on like the big screen in whatever, every stadium has a big screen in there somewhere. And we're just sitting on the line chilling, like waiting for the race to go. And honestly, a lot of the time we're just watching what's on the big screen, or we're just kind of doing our little pre-race things, just letting just whatever. And yeah, I saw the crash right on the big screen as I'm getting ready to go back out, and I was like, "Yeah, this is awesome." Yeah, you just have to. And in my mind, in that I was like, "Huh, that's crazy." That's crazy that I'm looking at that, and now I have to just shut this off and just go out and just pretend like it didn't happen. And I mean, I did. Like you just
I was gonna say, I imagine that whenever you guys get going, whenever that gate goes down and you go, like everything else just kind of disappears.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of, if you're thinking about other stuff, and that has been a little bit of the battle since that crash with me, is I have had races where I was thinking about shit like that.
Yeah.
And typically those are bad races because like you can't do dirt bikes is hard enough, and when you have something like that lingering in your mind, it just makes it even harder. So you gotta just saying, oh yeah, just shut it off. Just don't think about it. Well, that's
not that easy.
I mean that's easy to.
You're on a fucking dirt bike again. It's not that easy.
Yeah, it's easy to say, and you're on a dirt bike on a similar track doing similar jumps. Like as or racing in the same stadium. Like last year, racing in the same stadium. So it's kind of,
it's like fighters when they get knocked out and then they go back in. It's like, oh yeah, don't think about this. Kind of hard not to, bud.
Yeah. Or
it's doing the exact same thing again.
It's kind of essentially like a PTSD, like, cause I've talked to like war guys that say like, oh, if they hear a gunshot, they freak. It's maybe it's not quite that level, but like I did kind of like, I had a bunch of people still come up and tell me, they were like, I thought you died in that crash at Dallas. Like, I thought I watched you die. I'm like, oh, sick. Thanks. Like, thank you guys. I appreciate you hearing that. So to hear that, like, and yeah, it was a pretty traumatic, like, experience. It was a gnarly wreck, and then I was in the hospital and stuff. And so to hear that, then there definitely is a little bit of like PTSD that happens there, that getting back, even just getting back on the bike, getting back in the stadium, hearing the crowd again, because like when you hear the crowd before you crash, and then after you crash, you usually, when you get back up, I don't really remember much, but when you do get back up, everybody claps and stuff that you're standing or whatever. So just the familiar sounds and stuff is kind of, does give you a little bit of PTSD from times. So that's tough enough without seeing the crash on the TV screen right before you're about to go and ride.
That's
but
so gnarly.
It is what it is. Like I kind of, you just have to, and that's what I say, it is what it is, but you just have to kind of be in that mental, you just got to be kind of tough in that way, I guess, and just not let stuff like that affect you.
And you definitely are. Like, dude, you're a tough ass fucking kid, dude. Like, you're tough as nails, dude. Every time I see you, there's like, oh, on crutches, or you broke your hand, or like something. And I'm like, dude, this kid's fucking relentless, bro. That
is, I feel like more so what I'm known for in my career now is just being, which I say, like, I guess thinking would I rather be known for that, or rather be the guy who won a bunch of races, made a bunch of money? I mean, yeah, that would be nice too, obviously. They're both but
they're both fucking rad though, dude. You know what I mean? Like there's always that guy that's like, maybe without the attitude, but you're like the fucking Nate Diaz of Supercross.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? It's like, dude, he's never won a fucking title either. You know what I mean? But but when he fights, dude, it's like fucking Conor McGregor showed up, dude. People fucking, it's insane. They love that motherfucker.
Yeah.
Same with you, I imagine. I mean, you've never won the big race, right? But like, dude, like you're one of the most well-known dirt bike riders. I didn't know that either, right? Because Matt hit me up. He was like, yeah, he's like my buddy of mine, he's Supercross and stuff. But I was like, okay, cool, whatever. I'm fine. Like, cause I'm not like a starstruck person.
Yeah.
And then I also like, I don't follow it. So I didn't know. Right. Until your name started coming up in conversations, right? Well, like with my buddy Les, we went out to lunch. I was like, and he was talking about some dirt bikes. I was like, yeah, my buddy Austin lives here. He was like, Austin who? I was like, oh, it's Forkner. He was like, you fucking know Austin Forkner? I was like, I was like, is that like a
Is
big
that
deal?
cool?
Like,
Yeah.
I was like, is this good or bad?
Yeah.
He was like, dude, he was like, that's fucking sick.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, sick.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah. Like, that's awesome. Like, I had no idea.
Yeah.
You know, I was just like, he's fucking super cool. Like, I was like, I fucking like hanging out with him.
Yeah.
I was like, you know, that's as far as I fucking knew, you know?
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, he's rad dude, rad to hang out with. That's all I ever care about.
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
I was like,
That's
fucking,
yeah.
and then to find out like you're as popular as you are, right? So
Yeah.
you are one of the fucking guys. Dude.
It is kind of weird that I get noticed or like people come up and like say something to me a lot more out here than I thought would happen. Like in California, there's a dirt bike shop around every corner basically in California. Like everybody does it. But out here, I thought like nobody would know anything about dirt bikes out here, where there is actually more people that know about dirt bikes out here than what I thought that they would. Like, so that's just, yeah. I really didn't know whenever I moved out here. That's another thing. I really didn't know where I was moving into. So, or what, like we came out here one time to look at houses. We came out here once, looked at like 6 houses while we were out here, and we're like, okay, that's another thing is when you do move teams or whatever, is it's just like, which I guess that's the case, definitely the case with like any stick and ball sport. Like you got to move like that. Like,
Okay.
But those guys are getting paid a little bit more. So those guys can afford like, okay, I'll just have house both places. Like I'll just have 2 houses, you know, I'll have one here and I'll have one there. Or like, I'll sell this one at some point, you know, whatever, where I'm like, we don't get paid enough that it's like, no, I got to sell this house first and then so I can buy this house. But like you got to do that in 2 weeks or whatever, or a month, you know, have sold a house and be moved out and move into this one. So has to happen. Everything has to happen really quick when you do switch teams.
Yeah. That's something really interesting that we talked about that edit, and that never really registered to me. I thought that if you were like, you know, at the big show, if you were running Supercross, dude, if you were doing that, like I thought you were just fucking banking, dude. And you were, and you elaborated on this for me, and you let me know you're like, nah, like most of those guys are hoping to break even.
I mean, a lot. Yeah. Like of the guys who race, like there's some guys who are like, I was saying the top, whatever, there's 15 or 17 guys or whatever in the 450 class that have factory rides. Those guys that don't, they're not making the guys that don't. Cause there's, you know, 20, 30 more guys that show up to the race that don't have that don't have factory rides. Those guys are scraping by. Some guys show up in their van. They bought their bikes. They bought their gear. They bought that's
are there any guys out there that are just like road dogging it? They're at every event and they're just like they're just the best mood. They're just like fucking rad dudes. They're just like fucking riding dirt bikes today, dude.
Yeah.
Like,
there are some guys like that, and they just are riding. They have one bike they practice on, they race on, they do everything on. They're living out of their van. They have their mechanic that travels with them, and
that's sick.
It. Like,
that's the guy right there.
There are some guys like there are quite a few guys, I guess, like that. So it's just there's guys like that who are just trying to make enough money to get to the next race, essentially.
Yeah.
And then there's guys that are battling for wins, and there are some guys who are making, you know, a couple $1 million a year, but that's the guys who are winning or who are getting top 5s in the 450 class or the 250 class, or probably not the 250 class. The only guys that are making that much are in the 450 class, but there's a very select few guys that are making like enough that because everybody's like, oh, when you retire, you know, you can just enjoy life. You know, you don't have to work. No. Most guys who race you're going to have to do something. Yeah, maybe you can live for a year or so before you run out, but you're going to have a job after. It's not just so.
I think as long as you can try to avoid some injuries.
Yeah.
I think you're going to do fine at 450, dude.
Yeah.
I think you're going to be all right, dude. Yeah. You still got a lot in you. You're still fucking going. You're still healthy.
Yep.
You're still fucking, you bounce back quick too. Like I've seen you get hurt like 3 times since I've met you.
Yeah.
And like a few weeks later, you're like, you're like, yeah, I'm riding it. Like, yeah, like, and you'll text me sometimes. These guys got you like swimming and fucking riding bicycles. I remember the one day you text me, you were like, these motherfuckers got me riding a bicycle. You sent me a picture of the handlebars. You're out there doing cyclist work and stuff. Like I was like, man, like, my boy is getting after it though, dude.
Yeah,
like it's sick to watch. It's a really cool thing to be able to sit here and watch sort of like, I don't know, like greatness happening in real time. You're one of the best there is. And it's like rad being able to know you and having sort of like, I'm able to kind of peek behind the curtain and, you know, see what Austin Forkner is doing behind the, you know, and seeing like the groundwork that you put in that when nobody's looking.
Yeah.
That stuff's cool. I can't wait to come out and see you practice too.
Yeah.
I want to check out that track.
Yeah.
Because I've never.
In person, it's crazy when you see the jumps. Like if you go stand at the bottom of the jump and just look up at it, you're like, they're hitting that like
so
this is
the jump.
Yeah.
This is it.
Yeah, it's crazy.
You're like, all right. So how long have you been doing this now?
Did
you start when you were a kid?
Yeah, like 3.
Oh my
Started
God.
like 3. That's another thing is that it's such a
Holy shit.
to be good at the sport nowadays. It's so crazy. Like you got to start when you're 3 years old. Some of these kids they're living at training facilities when they're like 6 or 7. Riding their dirt bike every day, trying to make it trying to be a pro, and it's one of their parents is back at home working to supply money. The other parent, usually like the dad will be back home working, the mom's living with them at the track, and that like it's a crazy. That's what it's not as simple as like buying a basketball. And
that's what I'm saying.
Your kid's really good at your school, then he gets a college scholarship, and then it kind of. It's not that you got to be, and a lot of these races to go to, there's a couple big races as an amateur that you do to try to get recognized by a pro team to try to then get signed. And they're week-long races. Like you got to go stay there, live at the track. You go and stay and camp at the track for a week. And the races, it's not a week-long, like you're not racing. But the race lasts a week long, and they're in California. They're in Florida, and guys will drive from California to Florida for that one race and then drive all the way back. And it's the amount of money that it takes to try to make it in this sport is pretty.
Were you guys doing all that when you were growing up?
Yeah, I mean you have to. Yeah. I wasn't like living in a training facility and stuff when I was super young. I went to school until like 6th grade.
Okay.
And then I had to be homeschooled just because I missed so many days doing riding, not because, but then we just went to more. I started to, at the beginning, it was just a local thing. We would just go ride local tracks, local races. My dad rode, so I started riding and we just did that. And then I started to get pretty good. I would win all the local races. And then we go to some that it was in Missouri. We go to Oklahoma or to Texas, and there were some better riders in Texas, and I'd be right with them. And those guys were doing good at the national races. So then it's like, maybe I'm good enough. We should go to some bigger races. And then you go to the bigger races, then you do decent. I didn't win very much as a kid, but do just enough that it's like if we just ride a little bit more and we just get a little bit better of a bike and make it a little bit faster, make it handle a little bit better, then I think that we can be winning. Like it's like a cookie dangling in front of you. It's just like, oh, just a little bit more. You're so close, and you do that for over the course of some years, and then I ended up winning a race. It's called Loretta's in Tennessee. Loretta Lynn's. It's at Loretta Lynn's
That
Ranch.
was in the documentary.
Yeah, that's like one of the biggest amateur races.
That's what they were saying.
If you can go there and win that, you'll typically get noticed by even if it's not a factory team. It's after that I got sponsored by Kawasaki.
So you went there and won that?
Yeah, I won that, and I got sponsored by Kawasaki, which is obviously like the actual factory Kawasaki team, just for the amateur program. And then if you can continue to do good, then that will hopefully lead to the pro Kawasaki team signing you, which is what happened. So it's kind of like getting noticed by all the brands have an amateur program, which is like for kids to you get signed on that. The goal would to be they sign you on 85s at like 12 or 13. You sign to that team, and then you continue to do well, and then eventually you get signed to they say, hey, we got this kid on our team. They tell the pro team, hey, we got this guy on our team. He's doing really good. He's good. You guys need to take a look at him. And then those guys start paying attention more to the results and stuff. And then you can sign a pro contract with them. And I think I signed a pro contract at, I think 16.
Nice.
So that's where the sport makes you grow up really fast too. Cause you don't get to do. So basically once I signed signed that pro contract at 16, I knew this is what I'm doing. This is my life. This is where I'm going. Right. So I just quit doing school. So I didn't even graduate high school. I just stopped going. I did homeschool stuff, but I just stopped when I was 16 because I was like, this is what I'm doing. This is where my life's going. No one's asking for diplomas. No one's, even if you're after you do retire from racing, anything I do is probably going to be dirt bike related. What I do for a job.
Right.
If I'm a trainer, if I'm a this or that or whatever, no one's going to be like, hey, by the way, do you have your diploma?
Yeah.
No one cares. They know would essentially be hiring me because of who I am and the knowledge I have within dirt bike racing. So that there's no diploma, there's no nothing for that. So, I just kind of went down that path. And from then on, when I was 16, then I did start living in a training facility or living out of my camper, out of training facility full time with my dad. He was my mechanic. So we started doing that full time and riding almost every day and doing that from whenever I was like 15 or 16. Whenever it was looking like I was going to get a pro contract. So like probably 15, it was like, okay, we're this close.
Is your dad still your mechanic?
No, he was my practice mechanic, but now that I live out here, they have my mechanic at the it's my same mechanic that goes to the races too. So he works at the facility. So whenever I show up to ride, he just works on my bike then too.
So that is a very unusual way to grow up compared to everybody else. Do you feel like you missed out on anything?
I mean, the normal going to college, going to partying, getting the normal. Yeah, I mean, the normal, I guess, things that like kids experience doing, just I didn't really do. I was never stayed out, never was up late. I was always like in bed by 10 because I had a run the next day. I had to get up early and go to the gym. I had to ride. It was always about what's going on the next day, and you just worked super hard all day. So the last thing you want to do is be up until midnight. You want to go to sleep and because you got to do it the next day. And guess what? If you're tired the next day, your trainer doesn't really care. He's like, well, you should have went to bed earlier last night. So from when you're 16, you essentially have to be a professional athlete at 16, where even like football, basketball stuff, like in college, they're not professional athletes. Like they're doing that stuff, but I'm sure those guys still go out and they still party and they still do stuff like that. No. They're not, so they don't have to be a pro. They don't have to have the pro mentality and the pro mindset and the pro work ethic until they do sign and go to the NBA, which is years later, 21, 22, 23, whatever, whenever that is. So where I was 16, and that's it's not just me, that's kind of everybody. You're like 16 years old, and it's just getting earlier and earlier and earlier now because the competition's only getting tougher, that you got to essentially be living a pro lifestyle when you're like 14 now, which is just crazy. Like it's borderline too much. It's almost like this is a little out of hand, that this is what it takes to make it in this sport. This is what it takes to be the best. But
that's how hard it is.
That's how hard it is.
Yeah,
that's how it's not. That's how gnarly it is. And there's hundreds and hundreds of kids that show up to those races those amateur races, that Loretta Lynn's race. There's hundreds and hundreds of people that show up there that are wanting just to be able to get signed with a team to try to have a shot at making it pro, that never do.
I saw that on that documentary. There's like fucking dads hanging over there. Like, why aren't you fucking going?
Yeah, yelling at that little Timmy that's 8 years like old, just having 7.
Like I was like, God. I was like, Jesus.
It is crazy. It definitely gets out of hand, and that's a lot of like it's pretty taxing on like families growing up and stuff too. Like it's a big deal because it costs so much money too. Like I was saying, you go buy your kid a set of basketball shoes and a basketball, for $200, for $100, your kid has a chance to be Michael Jordan, basically. Where it's with us, it's especially now just a base level entry, like 50cc, like the small bike for like a kid.
Yep.
Is a couple grand, is a few grand, is probably 3, 4, 5 grand for one of those. A 250 nowadays is like 10 grand. You're not getting one for less than like 8 to 10 grand. A 450 is 12 to 15 grand.
Shit.
And a good helmet is $600. Good set of boots, $400 to $600. $300. Gear, you got knee braces, you got goggles, gloves. Like next thing to just get what bare minimum of what you need you're going to be probably 6-7 grand deep just for the bare minimum, basically. And that's not including a trailer or something to haul the bike to the track, and then maintenance and gas and all that stuff. So it's such an expensive sport that
that's crazy.
It is.
That's a lot of money.
That your family has to be almost just as dedicated as you in a way, because it does cost so much. Like, you can say, oh, I made it in other sports with pretty much just myself. Like, yeah, my family supported me. They came to my games and stuff. But no, you're like, my dad would be driving across the country to these races and have to get back to go to work the next day, so. Was
this always something that you wanted to do, though? Like, were you ever pressured into this, or were you always just, I mean, there might have been times I would imagine where your old man had to be like, nah, man, we gotta do this. But like, it sounds like he was just like really supportive, as opposed to like, I see some dads who are just like, they basically make their fucking kids do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. My dad was never like one of the dads that was like way over the top. Yeah. I mean, there were some kids that it was a lot at the rate. Like, it was a lot. You got they come in, they get fifth at Loretta's, and their dad's just yelling at them until they cry after the race. Like, it's crazy.
And they tried their hardest.
And they did. They're a kid. They're 7, 8 years old. They're 9, 10, 11, whatever they are. They're a kid. They're trying. They're having. They're all they want to do is have fun riding their dirt bike with their buddies. And next thing they know, they're at this race, and
they're in trouble,
screaming at them because they got fifth. It's like, so it does get out of hand. My dad was never really he was never a yeller. He was definitely like, once I started to get good enough that it was looking like I was going to be able to do this for a living, he definitely was like pushing me and like, we're going to go ride this weekend. We started riding during the week. We would go to my friend's house and ride on Wednesdays.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
So he was definitely like pushing and motivating. But once I started to see the same thing, like once I started to think like, I'm going to be able to ride my dirt bike for a living. Like, I'm going to I have a shot to make it pro. I wanted to do that stuff. Like, I wanted to go ride more. I wanted to get better. I wanted to do that stuff because that's what the goal was. Maybe that's not why I started doing it I didn't maybe start riding dirt bikes because I wanted to do it I wanted to be professional at it. I just did it because dad did it and I thought it was cool.
It was rad. Yeah.
But once I got more and more into the sport, started watching it on TV, started seeing all these guys on TV racing Supercross. I went to a Supercross. I was like, that would be sick.
Did you ever have a moment where it was like, you're like, I'm going to the fucking show? You know what I mean?
It was probably, would have been, well, it was at a time whenever I had a couple different teams that I was talking to about riding for. Yeah. And I test rode a couple bikes for a couple different teams. And one of the teams came out to the middle of nowhere, Missouri, where I lived. And we had a little track out there that they showed up between races and they had bikes and they just unloaded them and factory bikes. And I just got to ride them in the middle of my small ass town.
That's sick.
And it was pretty cool. And then I had got flown out to California to go ride the other bike. And it was all like, I don't remember. It was probably just from, there used to be this race called Monster Cup. It's not around anymore, but it was in October and it was in Vegas in the Sam Boyd Stadium. And they had the pros race and then they had amateur big bike guys and amateur super mini guys, which is like 12 to 15 years old. And then the big bike guys were like 15 to 17. It would be like right before you go pro on a big bike. So it'd be like amateur big bike guys and then younger kids. They would let them race too.
That's sick.
And on the actual track with the guys at night in front of everybody, like full deal.
Oh.
And I won that on super minis twice, and then I won it on a big bike in the amateur all-stars class, they called it. And that was a pretty big, like, because I'd proved that I can ride outdoors with Loretta's, but you never really get the chance. Now they have a different program that lets you race Supercross. But back then, that was about the only chance you got to show that you could ride good on a Supercross track, because they don't really have races that aren't pro with Supercross because it's so dangerous to ride those tracks that pros are about the only guys that should be riding those.
Gotcha.
But back then, they had this one select race that you had to be invited to go, and I won it on a big bike. And winning it on a big bike was a pretty big deal. I'd already proved everything I needed to on the other amateur races, but winning this race on a big bike was a pretty big deal. And then I think it was after that I started to get it was whenever I started test riding the actual bikes that we were like, okay, this is going to happen. Cause like we're test riding bikes. These teams drove out to us in Missouri, flew me out to California. Like I just remember, and they got me gear. They got me all the gear, the helmet, the everything. They brought it all out to me they had my name on it, everything. And they were just like it was the full experience that I was like, this is pretty cool. So, that was probably the first, or I guess whenever I knew that I knew that if I won these races and did good at these races that it would lead to that. But once I started test riding the bikes and got flying out places and stuff to go ride them, meeting the team personnel and stuff, then it was like, okay, yeah, this is probably going to happen. Yeah, this is probably going to happen. So we started talking. I got an agent. We started talking numbers and all the stuff like that.
That's what I'm saying. Like there must have been
once it happened really quick though.
Yeah.
You know? So
that's what I'm saying. There must have been like a lot of moments along the way where you were like excited about each thing. You're like, yo, if I just do good at this race right here. And then you win it and it's like, fucking got it, dude.
Yeah.
And then you're like, if I can just get this race now, like and then then it's like, fuck, I might get an agent. And then you get an agent and you're like, damn, this is happening.
Yeah. Well, I guess the actual really first moment that was whenever I won Loretta's on 85s when I was like 11, because from that I got on Team Green Kawasaki, which is their amateur program. And that's probably the most prestigious team you can be on because they give you free bikes. Like we had a deal with a shop that would give us discounts on bikes, and I would get discounts. I think I got like 2 free gear sets a year, and then the rest I had to pay for from this one company. But everything else we paid for. And so I went from that to once I won this race, it was overnight, basically. I mean, it was the course of probably 2 weeks, but my dad's getting calls from all these people, and these different teams, and the most intrigued one that had us was Team Green. It could be just because that was the best team at the time. It still is, I think, the best amateur team to be on, just because I think they gave us like 6 bikes, 5 or 6 free bikes, just
no
here.
shit.
And we get to sell them when we're done with them. Like they don't take them back.
You told me about this.
So they just gave us a bunch of bikes. I got sponsored by Fox Gear, which was head to toe, everything for free. Pretty much just, it went from us paying for everything to just getting thrown a bunch of money. Then if I won at these certain races, I got paid. Like I got contingency money, which was like a couple grand at some of these races.
Nice. Okay.
So I had the opportunity to make like, if I win a bunch of races, like 15, 20 grand a year. And I'm like 11.
I was going to say at like 11, 12 years old, dude.
I'm getting 30, 40 grand in dirt bikes and a few $1,000s worth of $5,000 to $10,000 worth of free gear all at once, like all within a couple weeks after and my dad's on the phone with these different teams, talking to these guys that are like the head of the Team Green or the head of Suzuki or the head of Yamaha or a bunch of the heads of the amateur programs, like talking to them on the phone almost every day about all this different stuff. And that was probably the first moment when I was like, this is crazy. Like this is pretty crazy, because at that point we were in the position at that point where it was like, we're paying for all this stuff. If we could just get some help and just get onto one of these amateur teams, that would be huge. And then going from those amateur teams, it's so much easier, because once you're on those amateur teams, the pro teams know to look at you. Just the fact that you're even on the team, they're like, okay, we need to know who this guy's name is, because if he's good enough to be on this team, then we should probably be looking at him, because this team obviously saw his potential and signed him. So we were like, if we can just get on notice by an amateur team, then the pro teams will already be looking at you. So I feel like that was probably almost a bigger deal than actually getting the pro contract, probably, because that was like the first, it was like, okay, we have a chance now. Now it's we have a legitimate shot at this. And we're getting a bunch of help. This is going to make the financial burden way better because essentially our whole racing program is paid for, other than like gas to the races and stuff. But if I do well, we'll be getting paid. So like this is going to help a lot. And
I bet your dad felt better about
bikes.
this.
Yeah, better bikes. So he was probably just as stoked or even more than I was.
That's what I was saying. I bet your dad was probably like,
I remember
finally.
I remember when we got the first shipment of bikes. We got like I think they sent us 5 bikes all at once, and we had bikes in crates, just brand new, sitting in our shop. And he's working on changing different things. He's just
smiling
he
ear to
was
ear.
probably more stoked than I was. Just he was like, this is unreal.
And then there's also like from his point of view, he's just being proud of you.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah,
because you don't get to do that if you don't fucking work really hard. And as an 11-year-old, you were working really fucking hard.
Yeah, and he was too. Like he would go to these races.
But like but for your kid, you know what I mean? It's like, imagine when Atlas gets a little bit older, he's like 11 and he's doing something crazy, and you're like, yo, my kid's working fucking hard
too. Because 5 years before that, when I was 6, we were riding the local races. He had one bike. I had one bike. We would go every other weekend or the weekends that had races that were close and just ride.
Yeah, he was just doing something with his boy.
And now, bang, we have $50,000 of free dirt bikes, gear, stuff. And we're talking to the team who has a straight direct path. As long as I keep doing well, have a direct path to the pro team. Right. So it's like, that was like a huge moment for us back then. Like that was just, my dad worked on a farm. Like we worked on my family's farm, and so it was just
your dad's got to be so proud of you.
Yeah,
dude.
I mean
he's probably so stoked.
It was a big, just like we're noticed, and now we have a chance. Because honestly, a little bit of the hard part is just getting noticed. It's going to the races, doing well enough to get noticed by the teams, to then be able to get signed and then stuff like that. So, that was a big part. That was probably that was honestly probably even, like I said, bigger than signing the pro contract, just because at that point, like once we do that, it's like, okay, this is next. Like this is step 1. And now if we just continue to do good, win the races we need to, finish in the top 5, top 3, whatever, then pro contract's going to come. So it was almost like the pro contract was a little bit more expected, where this came out of nowhere, because before at Loretta's, my best finish was like a 9th. Like in all the years we went before that, best finish was like a 9th. And then bang, I come out and win both my classes that year and beat the factory, like the guys that were on those teams.
Finally just clicked.
And it was just like, and then it was like over, I went from not a nobody. People knew who I was, but like I said, I won a couple races before that, but best I'd ever done at that race was 9th. To within this week, I beat all the guys, consistently beat everybody, and then was getting offers from everybody about signing with them. So it was kind of, and for different money, they were like, yeah, we'll pay you, we'll do this, we'll just be contingency, but we'll give you bikes. And if you do well, then you'll start getting a salary, and this will be your salary. We'll give you $20,000 a year, and then you'll get your free bikes and you'll get contingency. And so it's just like, holy shit. You're like,
dude, this is 12.
This just went from not doing it at a local level, because we were going to the nationals and stuff, but my best finish being a 9th, we didn't expect none of this to happen. Right. And then when it did, it was like, it just kickstarted everything. So then, so that was honestly probably a bigger moment than even signing the pro contract, just because it was the first kind of big moment, and it was from nothing. It was from that I really hadn't done much before then, and then won that race, and then it was like, bang, overnight. Now essentially I was the top 11-year-old in the country for dirt biking at that moment. Like after I won that race, it was like
the next
everybody
day,
needed
you're the best.
Everybody needed to sign me. If you're gonna sign an 11-year-old, I'm the best one, essentially. So
that's nuts. Like you go to sleep the day before, and you're just like, just Austin.
Yeah.
You go to sleep. You go to Loretta's. You fucking crush it that day or that week or whatever it was. And then that next day when you woke up, it was like, yo, that's Austin Forkner.
Yeah. It was pretty. And then I got a magazine cover for a moto magazine, and then I'm like, it was everything from then just blew up. I'm talking to different gear companies, different bike brands, different everything. It went from we'll take whoever will give us the best deal on a bike or best deal on a gear or whatever to like, okay, now we have choices. And these choices are a pretty big deal because, like I was saying, a lot of the time the amateur team that you sign for, you'll go race for that pro team. If you continue to do good, then they want to keep you because they signed you at like a young age. They want to keep you on that team. So the pro team for that manufacturer will give you the best pro offer.
Was it a big deal when you switched?
Yeah. I mean, that was it. I mean, I guess maybe once you get to the pros, it's maybe not quite as big. And I think things have changed now to where it's not, you can get on an amateur team and not ride for the same team once you go pro. Like that's happened more now. But back then it was kind of the team, like there were certain guys that got on a team on 85s and rode for that team through their whole career.
Right.
Like their whole until they were 30. So that's what was big back then, was the loyalty of it. Nowadays, it's not quite as much of that. It's kind of guys will go for more, whoever offers them more money over maybe the what brand they like better or you know, whatever. It's just things are different now. But at that time, it was almost like it was such a big deal on what decision I made when I was 11 and it did matter. Because
I mean when you switched after you were pro.
Yeah. That when I switched to Triumph, you mean?
From what you're Kawasaki, right?
Yeah,
Kawasaki to Triumph.
It's less of a big deal now when you change manufacturers, I think. But also, like, it seems like less of a big deal because I'm older now. Back then, it was like, this is a huge, like, I was a kid, this is a huge deal. But it's a big deal to change manufacturers, but it's more, I feel like back then there were fewer good bikes.
They've invested in now, a lot into you. Triumph really has.
I mean, I've been one of their main like racers, but also test riders to help develop the 450 for them or the 250. I've been
I was gonna say earlier you were saying once you go to 450 you don't go back to 250.
Not really.
You're kind of riding in this like gray area right now where you're doing 450 and 250 right now, aren't you?
That happens sometimes, but
okay,
once you get enough points in the 450 class you can't go back to the 250 class. So I don't know what the points are off the top of my head, but there's a certain amount of points that once you score that in the 450 class, you're done with 250s. You can't. And I should score that in the 450 class if I can race the rest of the races and be at them. Then I should. Maybe not because I got hurt and I missed a few races, but it's not a crazy amount of points that you have to do in order to, because they want it to be. They want, like, once you go to the 450 class, you get this amount of points, you're done with the 250. You can't go back. They don't want you to be going back and forth because they want whenever you make the decision to go to the pro or to the 450 class from the 250, they want that to be like, okay, this is a big decision, you know? So you're not able to just switch back and forth as you please. It's kind of once you make the decision to go to 450, you're
right. You're in 450 now.
So that's
gotcha. After this season's over, you should be in 450 permanently after this.
Yeah, I would think, yeah.
Are you liking the 450?
Yeah, I like it. And
I know when we were talking, there was a little bit of apprehension, like when you were telling me that you were switching and stuff, because I talked about it.
Well, it just wasn't the plan. The plan was for me to do 250, but then their 450 guy got hurt, so they were like, they really wanted a 450 because they just came out with it. They wanted it at the first race because they're like, the last thing we want is debuting our new bike and nobody to debut it at the first Supercross race. So they were like, we want somebody there so that if you will do it, then they upped my pay a little bit and they were like, we'll do it. So I did that and it just wasn't the plan. So I didn't have as much time on the bike as I would have liked. But I think one of the best things about the 450 class is I think most guys, I got taken out by that one dude at that one race. So maybe not everybody, but most guys in the 450 class are older.
Okay.
And so they're a little more respectful and a little more like calm. They're better. Like the skill level is better than the 250 class.
Do you think that's why they're more calm? Because they know what they're capable of?
Yeah. And also just because they're more mature. Like there's guys in the 250 class that are trying to get a ride that are, 18. I went pro when I was 17. So there's 17, 18, 19-year-old guys trying to get on a pro team. Maybe they're one of the guys that are driving to that thing in their van and they're trying to get on a pro team or whatever. They'll die. They will take you out, and they will take you and themselves out for 18th place. It's like, what are you doing? So
do you guys have any like John Daly like characters in there? Do you know who John Daly is?
Yeah, in golf, right?
Yeah, like where he's
the dude that's just super loose.
Yeah, like where like Tiger is like very regimented. He gets up, he runs 4 miles. John Daly shows up drunk. He's like, "What's the course record?" And he's fucking smoking cigarettes.
We definitely used to, but now it seems like even the guys that are kind of
just raw
kind
talent.
of characters, like you still have to be fit, and you still have to be, because the races are gnarly enough that you still have to. You used to be able to get away with it a little bit when the competition wasn't as like strict. When it was a second difference between first and second, there could be a second difference, where that's not the case anymore. So even the guys that are a little bit more like a loose program, or maybe not the Tiger Woods, maybe not the Tom Brady's that are just locked in, they still have to do training.
You're locked in.
I mean,
dude, you don't do shit.
No.
Like I've hit Austin up a bunch of times to hang out, and it's just like left on red. I was like, sick, dude.
Yeah.
Fucking like.
Yeah, I just never. Yeah, I mean, especially in racing season now. Like once racing season starts, it's so you travel to the race on. If you have press day, that means you get to ride the track beforehand. So you'll ride it on Friday. So you fly out on Thursday, ride the track Friday, race Saturday, fly back Sunday. Your kind of day off, your day off is really Saturday or Sunday, but you're traveling, you're flying back. So it's really not a day off. And especially coming from, if you go to like the first couple races were in California, the time change, it's like a 5-hour flight coming back, and there's a 3-hour time change. So even if we leave at 9 a.m., that's 8 hours of it's 5 hours of travel time, but 3 hours. So 9 a.m. plus 8 is you get back at 5.
Yeah.
Then you got to drive. We're an hour from the airport, so we get back at like 6:30. We're ready to go to bed. We're done for the day, because then I got to get up, and on Monday I have to. Usually we don't ride on Monday, but we'll do a cycle. We'll do a 2-hour bicycle, a swim, a run, gym, whatever it is. So I got to do stuff
Monday,
immediately
Tuesday,
on Monday.
and then Wednesday you get ready to go out on Thursday again.
Usually we'll ride Tuesday and Wednesday. And then Monday we'll just do gym work or whatever. Then Tuesday, Wednesday we'll ride. And then Thursday, even if we don't fly, even if we're not doing press, because we don't do that every race, but Thursday we'll still do another bike ride, or do kind of like we did on Monday, do some more stuff, and then fly out Friday. So best case scenario, if we don't do that, then we get somewhat of an extra day on Thursday. But if we're flying out Thursday, it's like straight. It's just straight to it.
How long is the season?
It is between the first race is January, the first weekend of January. I think the 10th was the first race this year, and then now they added 3 races at the end of the year that are like the playoff races, they call them, that are in September.
Okay, so, well, how long is the season for you? Because you're definitely making it through the playoffs.
January through end of September.
Oh my god.
So then the problem is,
at least you get to be off for the holidays.
Well,
no.
Off as in not racing.
Yeah,
but that's
what I meant.
The problem.
Yeah.
Yes, not racing.
Not traveling every week.
Yeah, but honestly, one of the hardest parts of the year, as far as like what you're doing, is November, December, because you're getting ready for the year. So your hardest training happens in November, December. Like you're like I look back at one of my days in that I had when I, like a couple of years ago, I was on this crazy schedule. And I look back at just one day I had was wake up. I had to do a 3-mile warm-up run before riding. We did 2 or 3 30+2 motos that day. 30-minute plus 2 lap motos.
You guys hear that? A 3-mile warm-up won, and most of you won't even get up and do a mile.
Yeah. 3-mile warm-up run. Then we did a couple, at least 2, maybe even 3 30-minute plus 2 lap motos, and it was hot, summertime. And then
summertime where?
Oklahoma.
Oh,
so not quite as bad as here,
I was
but
gonna
still
say,
not great. Not great.
I thought you were saying here.
Not great though. It's still hot.
Still hot. Yeah.
And then after we were done riding, like quick eat, and then hill sprints. We do 10 hill sprints, which are like probably like football field, maybe 2 football fields of up a hill. We do 10 of those. Get done there, and then we would have gym at 6:30 at night. That was one day that we did like a lift, like actual like strength training in the gym. That was one day that we had. It was a couple of years ago when I was training in Oklahoma, and that was just one day. And so that was at like beginning of December, because then you start to not push it that hard towards the end, so you're fresh again before you start to race. But that was like the hardest. The first 2 weeks of December are like you are after the first 2 weeks of December you are done.
Now, do you think that all of that work is necessary as the rider?
I mean,
or were you just like, fuck, this is what I got to do to get paid? I fucking guess. Or because I know that we've talked about this before. You're very like, you just do whatever you're told.
Yeah.
Like you were telling me about like when they cook stuff for you when you're out there, you're like, you don't even care what it is. You're just like, they're just like, yeah, here's your fucking fuel. Yeah. No. Like, so for you, are you just like, you're just like, whatever, I don't care. I'm just going to do it. But do you think all that stuff is necessary for what you're doing on that bike?
I mean, yes, because
I know you need endurance, but damn.
Like, yeah. Okay. Maybe that day was a little overboard.
Okay,
like we may have been doing a little bit too much, because
that's what I was getting to.
At some point, you can train until you get Epstein Barr, or you can get mono or something like that, which is essentially you're just running yourself so low,
right? And
you're not quite eating enough that your body gets so tired that then you get sick and then you can't get rid of it, basically. So that's what. So yes, that may have been a little overboard, but at the same time, I was really in really good shape.
You're like, am I being punished?
Yeah. I was in really good shape going into that season, but that I remember in the moment that definitely sucked. Like, that was not. But sure. I mean, you need really good cardio. You need to be strong. So you need good cardio so doing runs, cycles. You need to be strong. So gym training. You need to have good breathing, which is why I do swimming, because you can't just breathe whenever you want to in swimming. You have to actually come up for breaths and time your breathing. And you got to have all that all at the same time. So having a good range of things to like doing lifting and cardio and swimming and running and
traveling.
Yeah,
I mean, your life is like you're like you're like someone who's in a band, and then you're also like a professional athlete, like a triathlon athlete, and then you're also like a fighter, because like that's the only other thing that you can like have your heart rate up with that adrenaline for that long for 20 minutes. Like that's the only other sport. Like that's like there's no way. Like motherfuckers aren't playing basketball with that kind of adrenaline. You know what I mean? It's not happening.
Yeah, no, it's not. So and the hard thing about outdoors specifically is we do 2 30-minute plus 2 lap motos.
What is that? 2 30-minute plus, what's a
30-minute, and then plus 30 minutes is a race.
Okay.
30 minutes plus 2 laps. So the races are, and outdoors, the lap times are like 2 minutes because they're bigger track than outdoor or than Supercross.
So it's like 35 minutes.
Like 35 minutes. We do that twice. And at one race last year, they had to cut the second moto to 25 minutes because it was like 113 in California. In Northern California, it was like 100. Guys were like, spectators were passing out. I tried to go get an IV from the medics after the race, and they said that they didn't have any because spectators were passing out and they had to give them IVs. And I was like, are you kidding me?
Sick.
Are you kidding me? So
good thing I'm a professional athlete.
Yeah. So outdoors is actually more physically demanding than Supercross. Supercross is, we only do...
Yeah, Supercross is indoors.
Yeah,
Motocross is
better
outdoor,
temperature.
Right?
Like it's during the winter time, so it's like in most of the time in stadiums and domes where they have a monitored like temperature. It's definitely Supercross is more the luxury side of dirt bikes as far as like even watching it. Like you can go get your suite in Supercross, watch it from a suite, get catering outdoors.
Who's got you got to hook up on a suite?
I mean, I get some free passes every race, so
not me getting into Supercross now.
Well, hey, that's what I was just.
I'm going to hang.
If you're gonna watch a Supercross, or if you're gonna watch a dirt bike race, Supercross, First off, it's more of a show. It's more of a
Yeah,
they
I
got
see
pyro,
that.
they
Yeah,
have
there's
the
pyro.
intros,
There's
all that
crazy.
stuff.
Yeah, it looks
Where-
awesome. Lights.
Yeah,
and,
lights,
all kinds of
everything like that.
lasers.
Yeah.
It looked fun.
Yeah, Supercross is definitely a better. You can get food.
I
want to
take the kiddo to a Supercross event
Supercross
now.
is cool.
Yeah.
Where outdoors is like it's raw. Like it's
It
dusty,
hurts.
it's hot, it's dusty. The dirt's flying.
That's
like
where
you're
we
essentially
separate
right on
the men from the
track.
boys.
It is. That's what everybody says. Like outdoors is a lot more. If you're gonna bring, somebody that has never been to a race there ever. Unless they're just like a good big outdoorsman and they just love being outside, love being dirty and stuff, then take them to Supercross for sure. Because a Supercross race is essentially the same as anything else that's done in a stadium. You go watch a football race. I mean, yeah, it's a little more,
or even a show like you go to fucking the Coca-Cola Roxy. You sit in the VIP. It's great. You go to Vans Warped Tour. Fuck, dude, it's like $12 for water.
That's what outdoors is like. Outdoors is like being at Warped Tour in the mosh, in the pit. That's what outdoors is like. Just like you got everybody's sweating, everybody's hot, people are passing out. The bikes are, you can't even hardly talk. The bikes are so loud. Yeah,
I remember one year I went to Vans and I like waited my way through like 3 sets to get up to the front because Day to Remember was playing. And I was like, I really wanted to see a Day to Remember, right? So I'm up against the gate, right? And we're talking dead in the middle of the summer in Florida, and every girl down there wears like jean shorts. So what was happening was they have a lot of crowd surfers that they remembered us. So I'm like right in the middle of the gate, right center stage. I'm like stoked, and the sun's just beating down. We're all sunburnt, and then the crowd surfers started coming, dude. And so dude jumps up like onto like the guys who pull him off, right?
Yeah.
So he stands up. They have these little risers that they stand up on so they can reach over the gate and grab people. So he stands up and his dick's like right in my face. I'm like, great. Fucking, and then every girl that he was like grabbing to like pull off the top of the crowd, like I said, they all wear jean shorts. So all of them were rubbing across your sunburnt shoulders with those jean shorts. And I was just like, I ended up just hopping over the fucking gate and fucking taking. Yeah, I was like,
just leaving.
Nah, I was like, I'm good, dude. Brutal, fucking awful.
Yeah, that would be
well, brother, I've had you for about 2 hours now, man. We're gonna wrap it up, dude. Thank you so much for doing this, man. I really appreciate you coming and hanging out with me. This is awesome. Where can people find you at, dude?
I have all my socials. Most of them are just Austin Forkner. On socials, just my name on.
I'll put all the links in the description too for everybody.
Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. My main one that I actually use most of the time is Instagram. But that stuff, and I have a YouTube channel that I still post on it sometimes. I'm trying to kind of figure filmers out for that and post as much as I can. But
I told you I'll introduce you to Brandel. Yeah. I got Brandel coming on. Brandel will be the next episode after this one because he's coming on Sunday. I'll introduce you to him. Like, we'll see if we can hook you guys up, dude, because he's fucking sick.
Yeah. Just socials, really. And then,
I'll put all of them in the description. Dude, it's fucking awesome to have you, man. I appreciate it. Thanks for taking some time, bro.
Yeah,
all right. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. See you guys next time.